On this month's G.A.S attacks, we take a look at the MiPro MI-909 digital stereo in-ear monitoring system. We cover who the heck is MiPro, the specs of the MI-909, a quick discussion of the differences between the MI-909 and the MI-58, shocker, its latency, and finally why stereo IEM systems are so important. Welcome to the IEM revolution, my friends. First of all, I would not be surprised if the name MiPro was new to most of you. I have known about the company for about 15 years, and I've used their products extensively in my day job. MiPro stands for Microphone Professionals. The company is based in Taiwan and it was established in 1995 by K.C. Chang. Chang designed the first FM wireless microphone in Taiwan in 1970, so he's been in the field for quite some time. MiPro has many features built into their products that are comparable to industry leaders like Shure at a fraction of the price. The 909 IEM system consists of a transmitter, the MI909T, and a receiver, the MI909R, that operates across the 64 MHz frequency range. The system is a true digital system that incorporates adjustable input sensitivity, adjustable RF output, scan and sync function for finding open interference-free frequencies, and an onboard EQ DSP for processing. System latency is reported at 5.6 milliseconds. MiPro also makes the MI-58 IEM system, which operates in the 5.8 GHz band with a reported latency of about 2.2 milliseconds, which is less than half of the MI-909. Now musicians, especially guitarists, make a huge deal about latency, and it is true, too much latency is difficult to overcome. Think about it when you're on a phone call and the AC is not working correctly, and you hear your own voice coming back to you on a delay. It sure makes it hard to talk. The same principle applies to playing music. If the latency is too much, it becomes difficult, if not impossible, to play. You can find posts online where individuals claim to be able to hear any latency, and maybe they can. For my purposes, let's use a rough measurement of latency as 1 foot equals 1 millisecond. If you are 10 feet from the audio source, let's say a guitar amp, whatever, you're looking at about 10 milliseconds of latency. This is much more than the MI909's 5.6 milliseconds. In most rehearsal or performance situations, there is at least this much latency. And scientifically, latency of less than 10 milliseconds is considered imperceptible. Of course, this is a complex subject, and latency is additive. Especially in a digital situation, you need to allow for the latency of each component, digital mixers for example, which can quickly add up to the point that latency is noticeable. Given all this mumbo-jumbo, what does it really come down to? Well, the MI-58 operates in the 5.8 GHz range. Wi-Fi anyone? So the number of available channels is impacted by the number of other devices in the area, and the other Wi-Fi signals can cause interference. I have personally experienced very strange issues with a 5.8 GHz MiPro device in a heavy Wi-Fi environment. It wasn't the MI-58, which I have personally never used, but I've also used Shure wireless devices that bounce between 2.4 GHz and 5.8 GHz without issue. The MI909, I believe, can allow for around 12 units in operation together, while the MI58 can handle 6. The MI909 can have antenna combiners and paddle antennas for larger stages. That being said, I have used the MI909s both with and without extenders without too many issues. Both methods had occasional dropouts, but I had many more without the combiner. To sum up this portion, especially in regard to latency, the MI909 has never caused me any issues and has excellent audio reproduction. While I have not used the MI58, I'm sure it is good as well. Bottom line on this portion of the topic, if you're wanting to get into IEMs and play on smaller stages in environments where the 5.8 GHz spectrum is not too full and you do not need more than 6 systems, I'd recommend the MI58. True, the MI909s have more features, but they also cost more. Okay, enough about the MI58 versus the MI909. One final point, which they both allow for: Stereo versus mono. I cannot stress this enough if one is looking into IEMs. Make sure that they can provide stereo operation and that the mixing board to be used can support that. When I first started using IEMs, we went with a CAD solution that provided 4 transmitters in 1 rack space, but it was only mono. If the system is used in a band situation with only 1 singer and 1 guitarist, it'll probably be okay. However, in groups with multiple singers and guitarists, mono is horrible as separation of the sources become very difficult if not impossible. Being able to put instruments and singers in different parts of the stereo field is a game changer. Later in the year, I plan to put out a multi-part IEM gas attacks video that goes over the setup of my IEM system, the pros and cons of it, and what I would change. Well, that wraps up this segment of gas attacks. Until next time. If you enjoy this content, please like it, comment, and subscribe to my channel. It really helps me out. Every month I have a new gas attacks segment with honest gear reviews of equipment that I purchased myself. Ripper Madnesses with riff solo playthroughs that I dig, and Cool Kids Corner where I talk about something that I find cool. Every month there's a new video for a song, including a cover song once a quarter. New for 2026, a quarterly segment called It's a Long Way to the Top, where I chronicle my musical endeavors. Lastly, my music is on all streaming services under Tove Anderson. Thanks for watching!